You have to start from what the problem is. Mm-hmm. The problem is global warming. Right? It's not English warming, it's not Oxford warming, it's global warming.
Could you tell me, was there anything that kind of sparked that fire, that passion in you?
What do I say to the younger generation in 10 years' time, in 15 years' time, when they say, you knew this was happening, and what did you do about it?
How do we protect this planet and every passenger on it, not just us, for the long, long term?
Do customers, do consumers actually care about the environment and social performance of the companies?
Trying to solve, a climate crisis, and we're killing one of our greatest assets in that, which is the ocean and being able to be a carbon sink.
How do we get people to think differently?
And by the way, if you do this and do it well, you might just change the world.
Hello, and welcome to the final episode of Season 3 of Conversations on Climate, which we hope will be hugely impactful as it gives the key learnings of the last 12 months. I'm also making a big announcement on the future of the podcast, so stay tuned until the very end. Since we launched the series, our mission has been clear. It's been to bring together thinkers, researchers, changemakers, and business leaders from around the world to address the biggest challenge of our time, before time runs out. The climate and biodiversity crises are challenges too vast for any one individual, organisation, or country to tackle alone. That's why we focused on exploring diverse ideas and solutions, breaking down barriers, and building a platform for collective action. Along the way, we've had 4.3 million views on YouTube alone, inspired global conversations, and learnt from some of the most innovative minds on the planet. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey. This season and across all 3 seasons, we've gained invaluable insights from extraordinary guests. Here are 6 lessons that revolutionized how I think about sustainability in a different way. Will they do the same for you? Well, let's find out. First, sustainability means thriving, not just surviving, courtesy of Mark Buckley.
And when we have a vision of what that future looks like, we can guarantee to go there. We don't need to go along with someone who's taking us down the wrong path on a side road or down off a cliff. Mesopotamia, Incas, Aztecs, Mayas, Greeks, Romans, on and on. Then the studies asked, what model were these civilizations running? Why did they collapse? All but 5 of the 32 civilizations collapsed because of ecological or environmental collapse. That means infrastructure, basic resources, breathing food, water, agriculture, food, sanitation, and those 5 that collapsed that weren't part of that were because of disease, disruption, displacement, but all 32 were running the exact same model. Is there anything else? Is there another system? Is there another model out there that we could switch to?
True sustainability is about creating systems where nature and humanity thrive together. Regenerative thinking in all aspects of life is key to tackling the challenges we all face ahead. Second, focus on solving a specific problem well and see where it leads, courtesy of John Mullins.
Think narrow, not broad. So in big companies today, you probably can't do anything new unless somebody thinks it's going to move the needle. They just don't want to bother with little experiments or things that aren't very significant. And in fact, I think that's one of the reasons why we don't get much innovation in big companies today. They won't bother doing little things that might turn into big things. But for entrepreneurs, like Phil Knight, who started Nike, he had a problem. He was a distance runner who could run almost a 4-minute mile, and he and runners like him had a problem with the running shoes that were sold in those days, which had been made for runners who run around tracks, for sprinters. Well, distance runners don't run around tracks. They run on dirt roads and country paths, and they're always stepping on rocks and sticks and some rodent holes. They get shin splints. They get sprained ankles. Phil Knight said we need a better shoe for elite distance runners, people like me who can run almost a 4-minute mile.
Now, Nike didn't start as a global empire. Phil Knight focused on a single niche, long distance running shoes. Nike focused on excellence and grew from there. Now, what lesson can we take from this? Start small, stay focused, get really good at what you do, and then branch out into related areas. Let success grow organically. Third, hope actually is a strategy. From His Royal Majesty Not Say Ni Nor Twy, Ol the Fourth. As the impact of climate change becomes ever more apparent, it is essential to keep hope alive. In the words of the King himself, if we keep people out of hopelessness, we still have a chance. But the minute we let hopelessness set in, it's game over.
The hope comes from my people, the young people I see. When I see the passion in the eyes, the desire in their eyes, and the resoluteness in their character, that gives me hope. And people have a right to be dispirited. You know, we made promises. You know, we made huge and bold declarations, which unfortunately have all not been met. But the fact that we can still share with our common man the resilience of the individual characters should give us hope.
Keeping hope alive fuels resistance, resilience, engagement, and action. Fourth, be honest, do less, courtesy of Alison Taylor. Too many companies overpromise on impact and sustainability. It's not possible to be all things to all people. The key is to focus on areas where you have real leverage. Ask yourself, is your organization truly equipped to solve that problem?
You don't try to solve problems that you're not built to solve, and you give your employees, you give your stakeholders the freedom to use their own voices and re-engage with the political process. Along with that comes with being much more kind of focused, much more restrained, and then really stopping what I think is the dominant approach out there is that what we call business ethics or corporate responsibility is really this idea of deflecting scrutiny. So deflecting reputation, deflecting regulatory risk, that's not working anymore.
Fifth, don't get sucked in by research shows, from Alex Edmonds.
And the second is this phrase that we often hear, research shows that, or studies show that. Now that is often seen as proof, but you can find almost any study to support anything you want to support. So the fact that there is one piece of evidence that supports your conclusion does not mean that it's true. There could be lots of other evidence which finds the opposite, but you are hiding this from the reader because you have a particular agenda that you want to push.
Research can be biased, even from the most trusted of sources. Critical thinking and skepticism are essential to make informed decisions. Sixth, authenticity matters, from Laurent Muslak. Brands that live their values don't need to fear accusations of greenwashing. Authenticity builds trust, loyalty, and credibility.
Brand is about trust. I mean, you can Google and listen to Steve Jobs talking about brands, and you know, it really, in a nutshell, is about trust. Mm-hmm. And it's about doing what you say you're going to be doing. It's about delivering on your promises. So the messaging is about authenticity. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, it's like, what was it? It's like, if you're good at, you know, the most important part for an actor is authenticity. And, you know, and you become a good actor when you manage to fake it.
Yeah. So, taking all these lessons together, to make a real impact, we need to critically assess the information we receive and work to make the best of our particular skills with hope and authenticity. Which brings me to the big news. After 3 seasons, Conversations on Climate is evolving into something new. Conversations 2050, the road ahead. Now, this isn't just a name change, it's a mission shift. With Conversations 2050, we're moving from exploration to action-orientated problem solving. And we'd like to invite you, dear viewer, into the heart of the conversation. Each episode will focus on a major challenge, from climate change to inequality, from innovation and AI to geopolitics and demographics. Together, we'll explore solutions that can help us all navigate the increasingly complex world we face. Our guests will be world-renowned experts in their field, and we'd love to hear your burning questions. We'll ask each guest 3 of your questions, and we'll explore the issues around the problem and tease out actionable solutions. To everyone who's been part of Conversations on Climate, thank you. Your engagement and passion have been the heartbeat of the series. but we're just getting started. If you enjoyed these conversations and want to be part of what's next, make sure to subscribe to the channel and we'll give you all the updates in Conversation 2050. Follow me on social media for behind the scenes content and announcements. All the links will be in the description below. And please share your thoughts on the challenges you'd like us to tackle first, and do make any suggestions if there's any particular guests that you'd love to hear from. We've explored the problems now, and it's time to tackle the solutions together. Let's reimagine the future, one conversation at a time.